I think the better trainers, the better coaches are the ones that take something complicated and can really simplify it so
Yes.
that it's palatable and digestible. And for instance, I'll give you an example. When we think of exercise progression or exercise regression, and for the listening audience, that just means how do I increase the intensity or decrease the intensity for a desired movement, say in the gym setting or rehab setting? And for us, we have three levels of progression. The first is assisted. Let's just take a simple squat, somebody getting up out of a chair, which is a very common movement that everyone should do for anybody that ever goes to the restroom, right? That is a common daily activity. So some people are going to require help and they won't be able to manage that properly with their own body weight. So we're going to give them help in the form of like holding on to a handrail or holding on to some straps or something, taking a little bit of weight off by giving them some rubber bands or whatever the case is going to be. That is the first level of progression. And then as they get more proficient, more strong, more flexible, whatever the case may be, better balance, and they can start to use less and less assistance, then I'm going to progress them on to see if they can do it unassisted. And that's the second level of intensity. Can you own your own body in the movement that we're to see if desiring you to execute?
Mm.
And then they build up strength with that. And now they've become quite proficient in standing up on their own without any help. Well, now you have reached the level of ability where we can start to load external resistance or weight onto you so that we can get you even stronger. And so that is the third tier of progression, which is resisted. So we go from assisted to unassisted to resisted. And the trouble is, Michael, I think too many programs actually get people to go right to the top tier too soon. And we need to know that they can move specific ways before we start throwing weights on top of their body.
And I think that's where the real art comes in with personal training, but also rehab, strength and conditioning. I mean, anything, right? Like that middle ground
Everything.
between trying to figure out like how am I going to get my patient, my client, my whoever from point A to point B is going to be completely different depending on who you're going to be talking to. And the exercise regression progression is like exactly how you describe, is just figuring out how to get them from here to there. And again, with the squat and I agree. I think people go right for the weights. People
Yeah.
always go right for the weights. And I can't tell you how many people who I've had and worked out and I haven't given them a single band. I mean, maybe a band a little bit, and I haven't given them a single weight in their hand, and they're sweating bullets because we're doing the exercises either like correctly, or we're following a certain format where we're doing a little bit more like a superset or something a little bit different. And they're like, we didn't even hold any weights today. I'm like, yeah, I know, you don't need them.
Yeah. And with that, you've most likely found the dark zones, the areas that they don't travel often into, and
Mm.
the brain is not accustomed to moving, and therefore the muscles are not accustomed to the actual action, and they may not have the coordination and strength to accommodate it. So that in itself is going to be quite challenging. There's also the fact that you're not focusing on the biggest, strongest links in the chain, but you're looking for the weak links because that will get the whole chain stronger. And I think as an industry, whether it's rehab or fitness and conditioning, is that it's so often programs are designed with focusing on the biggest links and the strongest links. And unfortunately, that's where injury will come into play, non-contact injury. We go through repetitive stress on the body and syndromes begin to appear in the form of tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, rotator cuff problems, lower back, patellar tendonitis, all those. You could list a whole bunch, I'm sure, that you get to. And it's because, well, a lot of it has to do with the programming.